In a time and place when you can freeze your tits off anywhere.
Two ladies in their mid to late 33s are plunging into icy waters.
We're about to test our mental toughness to stay hard like Goggins.
The Gringas load up the tub with their biggest challenge yet.
And then we sit in it for 6 minutes.
Does Kari channel her inner Wim Hof and breathe through it like a pro?
Or does she have a panic attack and splash around like a bitch?
This is the Vacationing Podcast.
So I'm in my bathroom with Teen, who has opted to go first in the bathtub full of ice and water challenge, hosted by one Kristin Weitzel.
We are here.
Kristin's so if you have listened to the previous episode of the podcast, you know all about Kristin, and I highly recommend that you go back and listen to the last episode if you haven't so far, because Kristin does some crazy biohacking shit. And she's from LA, but she was here or is in town for a breathwork conference, right?
Yeah.
Is it Wim Hof?
It's sort of, I think it's inspired a little bit by that, but it's with a gentleman named Casper van der Meulen, and he wrote a book called Mind Lift, and it's sort of about how you can use breathwork to change your life. And so it's a 5-day coaching for coaches course.
Okay.
And we'll do everything from Wim Hof style to apnea breathing and learn all about the physiology of the lungs and exciting stuff like that.
And are you going to be bringing that knowledge to us as we are sitting in this bath full of ice water?
Yeah, we're going to talk about nasal breathing, which we covered just a little bit ago, but also it's sort of the key to calming the system when you get into the ice. So you're going to have an initial response to the cold water, of course, and when you get in the ice, getting yourself to a place of calm to the best of your ability helps a lot. That happens quite often more quickly when you're doing nasal breathing. So you're breathing in through your nose. My preference is like in through the nose for 4, out through the nose for 8, and you're just counting yourself sort of through the moments in the ice, the beautiful moments in the ice.
Beautiful.
Getting through with that nasal breathing.
Well, Ashley is in Glasgow right now, so she was unable to come to this.
She went to Glasgow, so she didn't have to do this.
I know she heard that there is. Well, I signed up for this like 3 months ago when you were doing your ice bath challenge, and in my mind I was like, well, what I told you was, if ever I'm in LA, I'm totally getting into your ice bath. But what I meant in the back of my head was, I can avoid LA for like 3 years. So this doesn't have to be an anytime soon thing. But Kristin's here in Amsterdam, and the time has come. So
yes.
Instead of Ashley, our friend Tina has tapped in.
Hello.
All the way from Germany.
Yeah, so good.
Living in Amsterdam now. But Tina said that she would go first. And Tina, how many marathons have you run?
2.
You've run 2 marathons.
Yeah.
And one pretty recently, right?
Yeah, in October.
In Chicago.
Yes.
Oh, the cat is trying to investigate the ice bath. I don't think she's going to enjoy that.
Not going to enjoy that, honey. Okay.
All right, so after this, we'll have some sort of comparison as to what's worse.
Yes.
Running a marathon or sitting in an ice bath, or, well, we have to do it for at least 3 minutes.
We're shooting for a 3-minute period of time, hopefully twice. 6, the science says, we're going to talk about, we have all this data to share with you in the Nerdy Cold Exposure podcast episode, but the science says that optimally it's floating around that, no pun intended, 38 degrees, 40 degrees, that's Fahrenheit, so converted if you're a Celsius head. Temperature is the best place to be, and getting yourself a total of 6 minutes doesn't mean you have to do 6 minutes all at once. You can start doing 1 minute in, get out till you feel comfortable, back for a minute. You can do that 6 times. I think it's really nice to try to get 3 minutes, get out, get 3 minutes, and you build up tolerance. Like you're creating hormesis, which is the small moments of stress on your body, so that over time you create adaptation to the cold. And so eventually you just do 6 minutes straight, and it's super exciting as well.
Now I'm going to shoot for 6 minutes in one go so that I don't have to get out and then re-submerge myself into this. Tina, are you going to go for 6, or are you going to do 3 times 2?
2 times 3 or 3 times 2, we don't know yet. It could be 6 times 1.
Which is totally great.
All right, so you're getting in. No splashing on the audio equipment. I have lit a romantic vagina candle
the water because we don't want it to temp down too warm. You're gonna step in and you're going to get to the place where you breathe through your nose.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the process really quickly before you do it.
Okay.
Stepping in with one foot, then the other. You're going to, I hold my nose like I'm a 5-year-old, but obviously if you're a swimmer, then you don't have to, but you're gonna submerge your head and get everything under. We wanna get the face and the neck because of the nerves and the mammalian response. Get under the water, then we come up and we sit for 3 minutes and we go as soon as we can to nasal breathing.
Yeah. Just sitting.
Just sitting and chilling, and I'm gonna sit here with you. I always do this when I coach people.
Do you need your timer so we know?
Yeah, let's
Oh my god, timer.
I missed what you did.
Oh, it's not right now. Like, oh, is it an hour yet? It's okay.
Yeah, you didn't time it.
It's perfect.
Oh my god.
It's just perfect. I also want you to do. You're ready. You're ready. I want you to. It's good. It's ready.
Do you want me to get this for Rob?
Oh my god. Yeah, okay,
Okay.
just you can just, I think, swipe for the picture. Whatever.
Oh, it's always an Insta fest when we get into the water.
All right, video.
Oh my god.
Step 1, step 2, slow submerge. Pros don't splash. Take it like it's, a day of the beach.
Pros don't splash. Take it like a woman.
It's good. Then just slide in and submerge. Get your head and face under, even if you have to slide yourself down and your knees up. Just put yourself all the way in. It's totally fine. Remember what I told you about that first minute?
Oh my god. I have to go breathing.
Yeah, slide your feet all the way down.
Okay, her hoo-ha. She's now hoo-ha deep in the ice water.
Hands, don't listen to Kari, just listen to me. Breathe through your nose. Now you're gonna scoot your knees up, slide your body down, and just get yourself in. When you get yourself into the cold water, it's gonna feel better, actually. I
Oh
promise.
my god. I'm
So slide
trying to do
yourself
this.
down, no hesitation. You got this right now. It's just like you have swum in an ocean, you have run 26 miles. 0.2, I think, right? Great, so slide yourself all the way down and just submerge yourself. It's good, the nasal breathing is great. Don't anticipate that it's gonna be cold. You're in it already, so you can just go down and breathe in it. And get yourself under. So bend your knees, slide your knees so they get out of the water. How exciting is that? Put your hands on the bottom of the tub.
Turn my toes out for
Yeah, your
I
toes
think
can
they're
stay out. No, they're not turning
Look, I
blue.
haven't done the nail.
It's totally great.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, down.
Oh my god. I'm not sure I can do this.
You're like the strongest woman with the most mental toughness.
No, absolutely not. Oh.
Put yourself down in the water.
Nobody's gonna push me.
Nobody's gonna push you. You get to choose.
Oh, okay.
You got it. Slide yourself all the way down.
Oh.
In through the nose, out through the nose. It's great. It's great.
Oh.
Remember what I told you about the fingers? Put your thumbs in your fingers, wrap them across them over your chest. Cross them over your chest. Yeah. That's good. And you keep your knees together.
I'm just drunk.
You're so strong. It's really great, right? This is where all the magic is happening.
Okay.
The sooner you go under, the sooner timer starts.
Wait,
So your timer has started, don't worry, but I want you to be comfortable enough if you want to submerge. You can submerge, or you can wait till the end of the 3 minutes and then you can do a full submerge on the way out if you want to try doing
I
that.
think
I think
that
that's a good
first.
idea first. Perfect. So you're good, you're good.
Ooh. It's like maybe cuddling with a bathtub.
But your body has adjusted. This is a good picture right here. She's got an ice cube in her belly button. So remember, it's like this inhale through your nose. Exhale further, longer. Through the nose, not the mouth. Yeah. Long exhale through the nose. You're killing it, girl. You're killing it.
You want me to time wise?
Yep, you've got less than 30 seconds left.
Left.
Less. That's it. Less than 30 seconds left.
Okay, can I go 6 minutes?
You want to try to go 6 minutes?
She wants to go 6 minutes because she just found out she has only 30 seconds left, and I accidentally shut off the video when I went to go take a.
But I also went in very slow, so technically I think you should probably deduct 1 minute. I'm just to be fair.
Just to be fair.
What are you gonna go under? Think you're feeling
One time at the end of 6 minutes.
Okay, you have your 10 seconds left. Do you want to submerge and get out, or you want to stay in?
I was there.
Okay.
high five?
No. I'm not moving my hands.
No, your work thumbs.
you to slide yourself down and submerge now and come up so that you have a moment of submergence, and then we'll submerge you again at the end.
Ready?
Yeah. You can hold your nose if it's easier, and then remember to keep nasal breathing. So just slide yourself down. If you want to, you can do whatever you want if you want to get fancy, but mostly just have to get your neck and your face in the water. Yeah, so just get after it. Yeah. He's doing like a roll. Oh, so good. Look, you can even splash out of the water. 50 seconds left.
Oh, it's so nice.
Now breathe in through your nose and slide down and get your shoulders and your neck in the water. Yeah, exactly. So stay there. 45 seconds left. In through the nose, out through the mouth. It's cute, she finds all the cheats. She's like, I'm gonna keep this shoulder out, I'm gonna keep this neck out. You're doing great.
She volunteered to go for an extra minute because she didn't submerge early.
But I just got on a sheet. Oh my god.
Think about the shivers and breathing through the nose. Slow and long through the nose. And understand that you have some control over that. Okay, you have 10 seconds left, so you're gonna go slow. You're gonna take 2 more deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, submerge yourself, and then carefully come up and step out, and we'll wrap you in a towel.
I've got a nice towel for you.
Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, it's perfect.
How was it?
Oh, dude, I'm red.
Was it good? Would you do it again?
Yes.
Look, it's going over here. It gives a little ha ha.
It's so easy. Wouldn't.
Oh, it's my turn. My turn. My turn.
Okay.
Using one hand, oh yeah, use the other.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're doing
I don't know
great.
what the fuck I'm doing. Oh.
And then wrap yourself with a towel.
Oh, it feels like a million needles, like just. And now it feels good.
Stab yourself in
Here's what I want you to do, is I want you to get it around.
I've got makeup wipes in that thing if you want. You feel free to send those to Rob.
Oh.
So you just, yeah, if you keep the towel around you, that'll
Oh my
help
god,
manage your
yeah,
shivers.
the floor feels hot now.
No, I can't wait.
Oh, good.
Oh,
No, I can't believe
it
it.
was my turn.
It's your turn, and you're gonna like love this story that I'm gonna have
After
right
it's so
now.
good right now, it feels so good.
I thought that
Will you
Yes.
take a picture of me, Jim?
wait, you were hiding an extra bag of ice this whole
To
time?
make sure that you get the So let's do this. Come on, you gotta be. Oh, that's good. You make that pose again with your hands in your
I hope it's sharp because I'm
shaking. So now you have a little bit of extra. Oh, there you go. Isn't that exciting? She even warmed it up for you. Oh, what is this?
She got 2 more bags of ice out of, is it a third?
Yeah, because she. This is the
Tina
last
wasn't
one.
cold enough.
No, Tina was cold enough, but she just melted a whole bunch of ice with her. She's like, 90 body temperature. Okay.
No, you go work and beat the daughter up. I get a lot of pictures.
Tina just said, no, you go work and warm the water up. Alright, I'm just gonna do it.
Would I just take a video of you?
Oh, that sounds great. I'm feeling really fit these days. Let's enjoy that. Okay. All right. So let me start by saying that going into this, I really wanted to just like zen out and not be like a little pussy about it. But I think I might be kind of a pansy. I'm gonna. How pissed would you be if I were like, no, I'm not gonna do it?
Happy birthday. Just kidding, we're gonna go drink wine.
Oh, also to clarify, Kristin would not let us drink wine before this. We're going in stone cold sober.
Yeah, here's the thing. You don't want to drink alcohol, it thins the blood, and you just want to make sure that you are. I think it's like good to do ice stuff with a buddy, and never, ever, 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 ever like ice swim or do a lake plunge or anything alone because that's way dangerous.
That sounds terrible. You know.
So remember the principles: step in,
I can't
like
feel it all
walking.
right
just gonna be like, yo, I'm in.
And doing
you're just
exactly
like,
what
you're
she said
in.
totally helped me. Even though it didn't seem like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just hold it so you don't slip.
Oh,
Just keep
Jesus
moving.
God.
Yeah, just keep yourself
Very
moving.
tense. I am so
Super. Just keep moving. Okay, get to the nasal. Oh yeah, down and submerge your head. You got this. Like,
I'm so gonna do it.
you just like
Yeah.
down and submerge your head all the way under. Just like exhale, and just like the more you put yourself in,
The better it gets.
the better.
Oh, it feels so much better with my shoulder blades.
It does already. I like this like holding on to the shower. This is like a good. Okay.
Okay, you know what?
But here, don't like this is a hesitation. Remember, we don't hesitate.
You're right. No, we
just,
don't.
like,
We're just gonna. I'm ready to
inhale through the
like a bitch. I'm just gonna do this.
inhale, and then like slide yourself down and get
I'm just
yourself
gonna make it nice and cozy.
cozy like your favorite.
I'm gonna
spot.
do it.
I don't have to stay under there. I just have to do it.
You just have to get under and submerge your neck and face, and then come right out.
Okay, here I go.
That was perfect. Now come and lean towards the back of the bath like you were taking a nice hot bath. Yeah, it's good. So go out there.
That's so good.
This is so great. And then exhale, and then try to get yourself to slide down so that your shoulders are in. This is what you're doing right now is what I look like on an airplane when it's flying. I'm like holding on, so you don't have
Yeah,
to
but
worry
you know
about
what? There's a sweet release in knowing that you have no control over your death when somebody else is flying the
Yeah,
airplane.
that's true, but you have control over your eyes.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna get it more.
Yeah.
It's the boobs that are the worst. You know what I mean? Like, it's the boobs.
Okay, inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Because remember, you're going to get to the place now where you're hitting that 90-second mark where your body will go, oh, okay, let's adapt.
Just only move 30 seconds.
Well, I said 30 to 90. It depends on, time under tension or something. So, like, you know how you sit in a bath? Try to, like, see if you can, like, arch your back down according to the tub and get your shoulders in. Because you want to get your shoulders in.
I want it around my neck so bad.
And like you can put your hands in the water, they're not in the water right now. I just want to say. Okay, now listen to me. In through the nose for 4 counts and then out through the nose. And you're creating all that heat in your belly and you're like creating all that. This is just like your mind, right? Being like fight or flight, what should I do? And that's giving your body a I think that's okay.
Oh, does that happen? Do people just lose their shit?
Sometimes it's usually just the men.
Okay, alright.
In through the nose, exhale long through the nose. You're doing a great job. You're doing so great. It's like so strong. Your body's like calming. Your sympathetic nervous system is like, oh, chill. We're in Amsterdam. This is like the city of legal mushrooms.
I didn't do any of that before I got this
Red
bath.
district. I know.
I didn't do any of that.
It's just that where else can you be chill besides Amsterdam, right? It's very true.
So you heard you packing any MDMA in that bikini.
So inhale through the nose, and that really long, like weird yoga style, like ujjayi ocean breath through the nose. So exhale through the nose, not the mouth. And then like calms all your nerves down.
How much time do I got? Has it been 42 minutes?
We're shooting for 6, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have about 2 minutes to go.
That's not that bad.
It's not that
But I'm not all the way into it.
No, you want-
You do a much better job.
You want to get your hands in if you can. You can cross here, but then when you get your shoulders in, your arms will submerge with you and you'll keep them warm. Quote unquote warm. Yeah.
Alright, my thumbs are so fucking warm right now.
So try to scoot yourself down so your neck is in and your shoulders are relaxed. Because remember, the more relaxed you are, the more your body and the blood can flow. And just be like, oh, okay, there's body temperature here. I'm good. Good.
Oh, it's on my back right now.
No, that's okay. That's the good part. There's nerves in there, and it's gonna be like shifting. Remember, we talked about white fat turning to brown fat, and protein, cold shock proteins folding better. And
Fuck that stress.
cells are just like, oh my god, thank you so much right now.
They're loving it, I can tell.
There's so much love in Yeah, and do the nose. Do the nose. I mean, you look like a pro, I gotta say.
I felt like I started strong and then I started to bitch out.
It's just like you feel like I'm gonna tell some jokes, and then your body's like, no, there'll be no jokes. But I will also tell you anecdotally. Oh, you're good. You got a minute left. Anecdotally, that quite often there's like CEOs of companies, big podcast leaders are nailing the ice plunge in a way that's like they're getting through it with an appearance like it's actually they have more mental toughness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're like a big badass businesswoman, and so there's something that correlates with the stress you deal with in a business and the stress you deal with in the ice.
That makes sense.
Okay, the last 30 seconds, let's get your shoulders under for that before you submerge. So you have, oh my goodness, that's so good what you just did. Yeah, can you relax?
I just couldn't get through fast enough. Is it time to go in yet?
No.
Okay. Do you want me to pee in this to warm it up?
Now you have like 15, do I want you to pee in it to warm it up? So you have like 15 seconds, so count yourself down slowly and do the 2 long inhale through the nose right now. Yeah, exhale, and then 1 more, and then do like a slow and steady submerge, rise, and step out comfortably. Do we know her towel?
It's up
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
Great.
Right now, I'm gonna be real graceful with this. I can feel it.
Don't forget you have to submerge your head and your face.
Oh, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Here we go.
Here we go.
Was there time?
Wait, hold on, not yet. You need 5 more seconds, and then you're gonna submerge. And then hold on. Almost, you're almost there. This is like a long 5 seconds, but I'm ready. Okay, you're gonna submerge, and you're just gonna go whenever you're ready.
This is bringing back all of that Mormon baptism things. I
Just put yourself in and then come out. You got it. Yes, submerge, yeah. Perfect. And then you step out slowly.
thank you.
And then you like smile for the cat.
I want to get out first. My feet.
It's gonna be fucking hot now.
Oh, look at me go. We did it.
How cold are you? Do you want to say like, make a face like you
Well, we have to talk about it. So we're both standing.
Okay, yeah,
I had
tell
just gotten out of an ice bath where I lasted for, I feel like that was more than 6 minutes. I feel like I did
Did you
it
have the video on the whole time?
Yeah.
What did the timer say? She certainly wasn't telling you.
So I started before she went in.
Okay.
So it's 7:39.
Yeah.
From after,
You might have been 6 minutes, 15 seconds or something like
Okay,
that.
so I get the victory lap is what I want recorded on audio. Not because I want to, but because I was so stunned when I came out. After doing the second dunk, I was like, fuck, that's cold. And all I could think about was how cold I was, but I didn't know that I could get out.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like what going in was just insane. I thought that it's not gonna happen.
Did you want to tap out? Did you think you were going to quit?
When I was sitting in there just with my feet and my legs in there, I was like, this is as fuck. Like there's no way my whole body is gonna submerge into the water.
What was the
Like,
worst part for you?
Yeah. What?
What was the worst part for you? Was it putting the
The
poop
part.
on it? Okay.
Oh, I don't think my brain was able to even feel this.
And what's the best part of it? Do you feel like there was something that was like...
The cat wants to get in.
Actually, like just so small things, like your mind just goes goes through different ways. I feel like it was like little things made me so fucking happy. Like when you said certain things, I was just like, oh my god, this is so good, this is so nice. This
But I'm
just
like
makes
30
me
seconds
so
left.
Stuff like that. Oh
Keller, you're not gonna like it. The cat keeps trying to jump up and check out the bathtub, but sweetheart,
She's not
no.
gonna do it.
You're not gonna love it.
And then towards the end, when I knew it was only seconds left, and the breathing definitely helped.
It did help,
The
yeah.
breathing, I was like, oh, that's not so bad. And then also the shivering stopped. Like
Yeah.
you
And it's like, you know, it's not that motor function, like you have all control over if something was to really go emergency style, but it's that that nasal breathing will certainly calm your system enough to like disrupt the shivers and kind of get you a bit more stable in the water. Because sometimes I think the shivers come like our mind is like, it's not that it's a placebo, it's cold water, but our mind is like, okay, the shivers are coming. And you know, the shivers are designed to say, it's a response to your body saying, oh, I'm cold, I need to shiver to create more body heat.
Right.
And so like, for the breath, kind of, it's circulating that air, it's calming your nervous system in a way that you're like, okay, I'm in fight or flight, but how can I control this in a way that feels easeful?
Yeah.
But I also want to say, I feel like you ladies were, like, you were laughing too. Like, you're laughing because you feel like, what am I doing? But also, that isn't always the response people have. Sometimes people get in and you see that it's like terror, or you see that it's like they're just going to be so hyper-focused to get through it. So it's like everyone has a really interesting different response based on their personalities and who they are, and also doing it in couples. I don't mean romantic couples,
Yeah.
but when you do it in groups, what happens is you get out, and what's happened to you both is your body or your mind has been like really cold. Am I going to survive this? Which of course you are.
Yeah.
You get out and your body goes, oh, I am surviving this, and then you have this oxytocin dump, which is
I feel great now.
and you're like, I feel super lovely, and like you guys are already bonded as friends, and now you like, remember when we did that?
No, we just trauma bonded. High five. Besties for life.
The bathroom really is our element because we always end up in the bathroom.
No, during parties, we always end up in the bathtub, and we'll bring in the like beanbag chair and stuff, and then other people. And we had like 8-10 people in this bathroom.
Yeah, bathtub without water.
Yeah.
It is, for anyone who can't see the bathroom, it is an outstanding rotunda, a master bath. It's really beautiful. I don't always, I told them earlier, my bathtub at home is pretty tiny because of the architecture of the building being older, and so I could never do this. I would have to be like, you know what I mean, smushing myself in the bottom of the tub. This tub is like a beautiful option to do this in.
Well, you use a feed trough at your house.
Yeah, for anyone who's wanting to do it at home without having to find a place, because anywhere that's an athletic facility that's doing ice plunging is expensive.
Like, how much does it cost, ballpark?
Anywhere from like $50 to $100 to do a plunge, right? And you're like, it's already torture, and now it's gonna be torture on my wallet, but it's not, it's so good for you. And then, you know, around here, you have lakes and rivers and oceans, and when I went to Finland, it's like you go down to the river.
Yeah.
And it's just cold enough most of the winter for sure. But if you wanna do it easy, you can get the Rubbermaid makes a big feeding trough that's rubber or plastic kind of, it's a combo, and then the one I have is a metal one, and you just, you know, all these details we talked about, but you can put in a little bit of food grade hydrogen peroxide to kind of keep the water cleanish if you want to use it a couple days in a row. And the feed trough, either one of those tubs costs like $100. So it's like worth the investment to just get it if you have a roof or a back patio or a porch or a deck, and then you can just like change the water once a week, do a couple plunges a week. If it's just you could even leave the water in, like in the summer, and it was just me for the first couple weeks, I just left the water in probably 10 days or something.
And how many like pounds of ice would you say that you need for a plunge? Because apparently we didn't have enough.
Well, we had a decent amount, but like the reality is you want to pull 100 pounds of ice.
100 pounds of ice?
Yeah. Like you want to temp that water down so hard that, and I'm always doing it with like 2 people, me and someone else.
So temp it down, like bring it down to
Yeah, temp it, I always say temp it down, I don't know why, but I temp it down to sub 40 degrees. So again, that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. I think that's probably maybe 10 or 12 or something.
Something like that.
We can convert it right now, but it's like, you want to be under the science and the studies around, like let's also preface this by saying, you know, if you have, the important thing to mention is like if you have any heart conditions or you have a high blood pressure or you have diabetes, like you have to just check with your doctor and make sure it's okay. But for the average person who's, you know, in good health, and the doctors are like, yeah, of course, you're not staying in ice water, giving yourself hypothermia.
Right.
The goal is 6 minutes. Some people will stay in 10 if the water's a little warmer. Like it was a little warmer today, so I would fudge and be like, okay, she really has a minute left, but I'm gonna tell her a minute and a half. Because it's not at 40, so I'm gonna do my best as a coach to not tell you all the calculations in my head. I'm just gonna try to keep you in as long as I feel like I can keep you in comfortably. And so that's like behind the scenes BTS, what I'm saying.
I found your coaching very helpful, by the way.
Thanks.
Like it got me through some shit, so thank you for that.
But isn't it interesting the mind's response? Because you're like, okay, I'm gonna breathe through my nose. Stop telling me, Kristin. You don't need to tell me again to breathe through my nose. And the minute you get in, you go right to mouth breathing. The minute you're 2 minutes in, you go right to mouth breathing.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a thing.
And it's good to hear it before you start the exercise, to go through that like we did.
Yeah, so I told them over dinner what was gonna happen, and I said, I'm gonna tell you all this stuff, but you're not gonna remember. When you get in the water, everything goes. And it's sort of the same thing as the beauty of the water is everything goes from your mind, but everything goes from your mind because you can only focus on that moment. It's almost like more than meditation, can I focus my energy, my breath, and be in the now? like the ice is always the place where I have much better in touch with that moment.
Yeah.
Then my meditations, they're never good or bad, but sometimes your mind is really spinning and sometimes maybe it's a bit less. So the water is like, oh no, you're gonna pay attention to me, right? Because it's so cold. So yeah, it's cool.
I'm really curious now how a second time feels. Like how it feels. I'm not going to go in.
I was gonna say, you want to?
No.
There's still some ice floating in there.
I mean, I would, but it's so warm now. But I'd love to know how the next time would feel. Because you know what you're supposed to do. You maybe know it better than the first time.
Because you know it better,
right?
because you had a moment of like you were unsuspecting. You didn't know what to expect. You had no
Well,
expectation.
it's like you kind of know, but
and then you're like excited.
Yeah.
And you're like, am I nervous? And then you think, I got this. This happens to a lot of people, and you do have it. But then you put yourself in, and that's why I say, hey, this is a little hesitation. Let's just slide it in. You're good. Because what's happening is you're like, I'm brave, and then you get in and you're like, no, not brave.
And also, I don't want to be brave anymore. I don't give a shit.
But you're like, there's no. And at some point, you're like, I don't care what I look like. Like I'm getting up. But I will say this. I always say like, I haven't lost anyone yet. But what I mean is that there's like, I haven't not gotten someone to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Ever. And I've only had one woman who was like, it was really interesting because she's like high-powered, chick in LA, gets in the tub, and she goes, at a minute and a half. She knew it was a minute and a half. She said, tell me the 1:30 mark. So this is the power of the brain in the situation, right? Like the mental toughness. Tell me the 1:30 mark because I just want to know when it's half. And what she's probably saying a little bit in her own head is like, I can get out at that point because it's like, I'm not a pussy for being in a minute and a half,
right.
And anything after that is gravy. And so she gets in and so I tell her, because I'm never going to be dishonest and I'm never going to push anyone under. You said, are you going to push me under? It's like, no.
I knew you were going to. It's just like something, your life just starts pushing me.
And so a minute 30, I'm like, okay, you're halfway through at a minute 30. And she's like, great. And she does like a kind of submerge and she got out. And mostly she was like, I can't believe that. That's so hard, much harder than I thought. And she was, so like, then I ask myself, and I think when she comes and she like de-shivers, and then I say, hey, what's that 1.5 minutes like? Like that 1.5 minutes, you got out and then you complained about it. Like, what if you could just do 3 minutes? Like, what if that was totally correlated to when you hit stress in your life? And I think she started to think about like, oh, there are moments that I like pull the ripcord, but I'm just like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. And is it like, how do you sit in the discomfort? Right? Because the better we get at sitting in discomfort, the better we like totally can adapt to the stress and be resilient and amazing in the midst of like utter chaos is happening around you and you're like cool as a cucumber, as we say. Do you have that expression?
Right.
You're like, hey, I'm just in the middle of it, cool as a cucumber, because I can do the ice. And so I feel like the correlation of the ice has really made me like a stronger mental person, like my mental state stronger and like managing stress. And like the last anecdotal thing I'll tell you, I think I might have said this the other night, is I was doing ice baths so many days in a row, 34 days in a row. And
You personally did them 34 days.
I did them
in a row.
34 days in a row because I felt like, how can I coach this if I don't do it to the place where I just am like internally saying, like throwing a tantrum that I don't want to do it, and knowing how it feels to go back in that ice anyway, right? So it was like, I'm going to do a month, and then at the end of the month, enough people in the local area that I knew were like, oh my God, you're doing this, I'm going to come over and do it. And at that point I just thought, well, I'm setting up the whole ice bath, why would I just not do it again?
Right.
So I had 3 or 4 days of extra, so yay for me.
Victory laps.
But it's really nice to do with someone. I preferred that. But then some days you can't wrestle someone up to do it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so, but I did 34 days in a row personally. It's all documented on my Warrior Woman Mode Instagram handle. And when I then like 3 or 4 days later went to a friend's house, I was changing before we went out, and she's like, oh, no hot water. The landlord had to turn up the hot water. Should we pack everything up and go to your house? And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, are you cool? And she's just like, yeah, I'll like freshen up from after work. And I'm like, I'm just gonna take a shower anyway. And now before this, the thing in my life I hated the most, besides flying on an airplane, is cold showers. People would always say, oh, meditative, it's great. And I was like, F you, I'm not taking a cold shower. That's bogus, especially after hot. No way. I'm all cozy in there. It's my cocoon. Never gonna take a cold shower. And I put on the water, and it's icy cold when the hot water heater's not working. And I'm like, step in, shower, like soap, condition my hair. I'm going out, right? So I gotta look cute.
You shake your legs.
Condition my hair, like in there for like, all the ice plunging that cold shower feels like, this sounds so hard to believe even as I say it. It felt like nothing. It felt like cool. It's like, I don't also live in the Arctic Circle. I'm in LA, so it's not like it's snowing and freezing and hailing and everything outside, but it's like, there's like AC on indoors, you know? So it's like, it sounds unbelievable, but that cold shower then becomes this other thing. And then you have like a mental state that's like, oh, I can conquer that so much that it like bolsters your mind. But what's really happened is your body and your cells and your systems have adapted to that. So like Wim Hof, when we talk about him, he's doing, you know, long hikes up the mountains in bare feet and bathing suit and bringing a bunch of, so a lot of like dudes doing it, but you know, women, dudes, whatever, and they're up there, and he's so adapted. It's like an incredible feat still, right? He's like hiking in bare feet in the snow in the Arctic or the ice or whatever, but it's amazing. Yeah. And part of that is mindset, right? It's not all his body. We have to use our minds and our breath and everything else.
Is it like it's no stress situation for your body anymore because you've done it so much? No,
but the interesting thing is this: you lose it if you don't do it often, right? So if you just stop, if you like stop.
I thought I did power up for the rest of my life.
I didn't. So everyone will be like, "What's the protocol?" The protocol is really like, "What's best for you?" So for me, what I learned over that month or so of doing it every day was like, I like to do it, like doing it twice a week with my particular workout routine and fitness schedule is really optimal. Once minimum, twice is awesome, depending on like my time and my schedule that week, and that's what I really like. And if I have to do it much more than that, unless it's like a big social gathering, then I don't, then I'm like, meh. But also I think my opinion is that women doing it, especially like once you're over 30, really be in touch with what's going on with your hormones, because if you do ice plunging every day, I think it messes a little bit with your hormones. And that's like my sort of opinion on what I experienced a little in the midst of testing myself, and also just like cold water, fat adaptation. Every woman is so different. Estrogen is carried in our fat cells, so we have to kind of like walk in slowly, you know. Again, I was doing it because I'm a biohacker. I'm going to self-experiment, and if I'm going to fail at something, I'm going to fail fast so I can tell other people to not fail. So yeah, just being careful of it is really important, but it's killer for you. But you will de-adapt. Is like my point. I went to Finland, I went ice swimming, I was like, I'm going to stay in longer than any of the dudes. I loved it, but then the sauna, because we did contrast therapy because it's cold outside, you go in the sauna afterwards, so you take 60 seconds and you're like in the snow, you're like, okay, am I right? And then you step in the sauna, but the sauna was like having an issue that day, so it was warm, not hot. And so I was like not expecting that in like my preparedness. So I spent too much time in the ice at 30 degrees, which is 10 degrees normally less than I normally do it.
Right.
And then I got it, and I was in for probably 5 solid minutes. And then I got in the sauna that was just kind of warm, tepid warm. And I thought, okay, and I had the strongest shivers I've ever had. And I thought, okay, that was a lot. And then the next day I flew home, and when I got home I had a pretty bad cough. So it was like, there's the lesson, right? There's the lesson. So I did not ice plunge for 30 days after that, because I knew that my lungs and my body had like pushed myself too far. So that rarely happens in a bathtub, but you just you have to pay attention to it, right?
Would you do it if you were pregnant?
I mean, not unless I was ice plunging before in my life, and not without the real strong, okay of my doctor, and definitely not after first trimester. Okay. Because I don't still want to scare people if someone's like, oh, I've been ice plunging all this whole month, and then I just found out I'm pregnant. It's probably fine, you know, but I'm certainly not a doctor. So. Right. So yeah, that's like, if you're pregnant, probably you can wait till after the baby's born. Yeah. You could put, you get swollen feet and things like that. All the ice is great to stick your feet in, and helps with anti-inflammatory everything, and makes you not swell. A lot of times you hear like stories about women in Asia will do a lot of they'll fill up a little bowl with ice cubes and water, and they'll soak their face in it before they do their makeup or whatever going out, because it like kind of tightens the skin and makes everything look fresh and vibrant and not puffy, right? Not puffy before they go to work in the morning or go out at night, and so you'll hear that too. So the ice is great, and you can use it in lots of different ways. You don't have to put your whole body in, but putting your whole body in makes a big difference.
This cat won't stop.
The cat loves the ice. So yeah, you just got the 40-minute splash, plunge, and like nerdy science talk.
How did we do compared to others? Are we above average, or were we like?
You're absolutely above average.
A bit warmer water though, right?
Your water was a little warmer. Like if I'm gonna be honest, the water's a little warmer than.
But it's cold.
or 12 minutes or whatever it is, because they're just not, they don't want the shock as hard, and they're willing to stay in long enough to get the effects to happen. So it's just doing the math. But again, like the science says, trying to get around 40 degrees or just sub 40 Fahrenheit is optimal. And the science is ever changing, right? We're doing more and more studies around, you see more and more stuff come up about cold exposure, breath work, heat therapy, whether you're doing because you can do contrast therapy with like a hot shower, or even better, a hot tub or a hot sauna. And then you can really do like 3, 4, 5 rounds. That's like traditional Finnish sauna and ice plunge. You can do lots of rounds because you always have the sauna to kind of get your back.
Right.
Right? And as we stand right here, if she was like having a big shiver meltdown for some reason, which she's not, but I could be like, cool, get in the shower, here's the hot water, and then you just stay in as long as you need.
Until you're fine again.
Yeah, but I've tried to push myself to the edges. I'll do a cold submersion, not something you want to do in the beginning, and I'll see if I can hold myself under 10, 15, 20 seconds. It's cold, you know?
Yeah, it's cold.
And then thankfully someone also said to me in the beginning, when you submerge and you do a little bit of a hold underwater, again, not for beginners, but you do a little hold underwater, especially at sub 40, you're going to get a brain freeze, like when you eat ice cream too quickly. And so thankfully someone said that to me, because can you imagine if you went under and you came up and then you were like, what's going on with my brain? So you get a little brain freeze because you have mammalian response, you have all these nerves in your neck, these nerve bundles, and all of it is positive effects are happening, but it's like we just, you know, a lot of the coaches will do different kinds of cold submerging because we're just trying to like push a little edge, but we're not like staying under the water for any like a minute or something crazy.
Right.
We're just like doing a few more seconds to get the benefits to boost, and also because we've adapted. So, but you have to keep doing it in order to stay adapted.
Are we going to do it once a week? Is it going to be like ice plunge and game night?
You must have somewhere around here this type of year that you could just go in a lake.
Yeah, somebody suggested that we just go jump in a canal, and I was like, I'm not putting my hoo-ha in that water.
No, exactly. No.
But you must have a lake around here somewhere.
We do, but no.
I mean, like the ocean.
You know how deep the water is. You know,
can control
come
it.
out at least for the beginning, I'd say. It's use, the luxury of your bathtub.
Yeah, so are we going to keep doing it?
I'd go for that.
I would do
I
it.
think it's good. Even if you set a goal like twice a month, because
I was
once
just
a week
gonna
can be hard with the schedule sometimes.
Yeah, so
but
like
it's
twice a month is enough. How often do we need to do it to maintain the benefits? Because you know I do Botox and fillers, and I'm not opposed to cheating science or cheating time in any way possible.
I
Like
mean,
how
it's so good for your skin and your longevity. It's like, it's like inject whatever you want to inject, but the reality is like the ice will also help too.
Okay.
So like it's you sort of have to find the optimal range for you, for your lifestyle. You're not going to adhere to it if I said to you do it every day. And I think at minimum it'd be nice to do twice a month, so you feel like I'm staying adjusted. And then I would be like, this is ridiculous, but I have an ice freezer on my roof, and I do chest freezer plunge, or if I don't have the trough. So the chest freezer, the beauty of the chest freezer is you have a chest freezer, you have to seal it, like right now mine is leaking, but it's like it's a lift top freezer, and mine's like, I want to say it's 4, but it might be 6 cubic feet, I can't remember now with the whole cubic thing. But you seal the inside edges and you fill it with water and you plug it into a timer, like you would for having a lighting timer. And then the timer turns and cycles it on and off. And you have to manage kind of the location of it in your house and the weather in your area, like mine's outside, so that I know I can keep it with that pool thermometer around 40. By like running it 4 hours a day, I can keep the water around 40 degrees. And then it's just me ice plunging in a freezer in cold water, and I don't have to go buy ice and schlep it 3 flights up my roof. And then that ice freezer, yes, I had to buy it for $400, but it's like on my roof, and then I can just go cold plunge in the morning or cold plunge. I prefer to cold plunge in the afternoon. Some people like it in the morning, but I like late afternoon before the sun sets. But like ice, you guys just have to like say, who's gonna buy ice this week, and get a few people over, or like get somebody new every time and be like, you're new, you buy the ice.
Yeah, and nobody drinks. It's got to be a sober thing. But we can have wine afterwards.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
No, why don't you want to get a little boozy with your girlfriends before you go in an ice bath? Just so the listeners know, in case they're curious.
I think
Not that we had that
you want
question.
everyone to be sober because that's fair, but also you want to have, if everybody's like sort of overdone it, you just don't want anything to happen to anyone because of like some idiot circumstance where you're like,
Right.
oh, we were like, Barbie was in the tub and we were all drinking a bottle of wine in the other room, we didn't realize she drowned. The reality is, like, you look at the kids' statistics, huge, drowning in a bathtub for children is a huge statistic. Like, and it can happen to an adult, you know, it does happen. So it's just like, it also thins your blood. It's going to mess with your body temperature. It's going to mess with your body functions, your systems. It's just going to like slow everything down, and it's not great for your brain. So why not be like turned completely on, and then afterwards you need to celebrate with something awesome. I think, you know, you do what you want to do. I typically am like doing it before sunset, using it as an unwinding mechanism, and then I'm like putting on my blue blocker glasses, having a meal, like unwinding, and then I sleep really well.
Right.
So for me, it's like the nights I want to go out and party, I'm not doing an ice bath.
Does it get easier the second time around? Or over time?
It continues to get easier every single time you do it, if you do it consistently.
So that's the hardest it'll ever be for us.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So it's only getting, you know what? Other people haven't experienced it yet, so we can still have them, but we'll have an edge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it's great because you learn what it's like for you, and then you learn to walk them through it.
Yeah,
And it's
be helpful.
I've gone through a whole big coaching program to kind of watch and see and know, but the reality is if you see people go through it enough and you know enough about the whole process, you can coach someone through it.
Kristin, if people want to find you to learn more about your coaching or about ice baths, or just to follow you in general, where can the people find you?
They can find me at Instagram at Warrior Woman Mode, and also warriorwomanmode.com.
We will include those links in the show notes. Thanks for hosting the ice bath.
Yeah, the thrill of the chill.
Are you going to get in it?
I'm down to get
Okay,
it. This would be warm for me.
Yes.
Does Kari channel her inner Wim Hof and breathe through it like a pro?
That
You
pro
copy?
is like,
Bad. Okay, sorry.
it's okay.
Does Kari spitting on me? Does Kari channel? Does she channel some shit or what?
I don't know, like
It's good. No, it's good.
Call me now.
good.